Let's go through our map picks as these Fresh has really taken his time to walk back to us. I wonder why. Maybe he got stuck in the middle with Fabian. Our first 4 map bans will take away Skyscraper Club, Chalet, and Labs. And of course, the first map has been leaked. Or of course, the map for this series has been leaked. It's going to go to Oregon. Thanks, Fresh. Very wonderful of you to give us all that flexibility to figure out what to do with our graphic. Very nice.
Yeah, sorry about that.
You're looking good.
I was like, what's the interview question? Yeah.
Jack,
it's massive, I'll be honest.
You have never looked better. Never looked better. This man... So, for everybody out there, that is what a lime looks like. Please do not bite the rind of the lime unless it is thoroughly washed. Oh my god. To be fair, that is the best selfie you've ever taken, Jack.
Honestly, incredible.
You're not good at those.
Just to explain it, when we were at EUL in Copenhagen, obviously Fabian knew that he'd qualified. It was the later end of EUL. And Fabian goes, Jack, it would be hilarious if we wore shirts with each of us faces on at the major. And I thought, yeah, let's do it. Here we are.
Here we are. And you've gotten the seal of approval from a resident French citizen here?
Like it?
Yeah, I like it.
Nice.
It looks great on you. Lots of cool patterns and colors.
It's like a dress, I will be honest, but you know. £100, it's yours.
Holy shit, it did not cost.
I'm never.
£100.
I'm never buying it. Never.
Okay.
Anyways, let's have a chat with our casters for a moment here, because I know they have to, I mean, look, there we go. Stylish Man, that's James, and Carter. Lynx has also made it here. James and Lynx. How are we, Dev Marta?
Yeah, how are we? That's a great question. Where are we? When are we? We're right here, right now.
We're in Manchester.
We are in Manchester, and it's the first day of Phase 2. I'm really excited because it's my first chance to cast with you. I actually don't think I've had like a proper event where I've casted with an American before.
Yeah, because at Atlanta I casted with Mandy, but I did not cast with you.
I casted with Sam.
Yes, that is true. I'm not gonna lie, I felt a little slighted.
Yeah.
I sat there, I'm like, oh, Mandy's great, you know, very smart, rocket scientist now. But then I'm sitting there and I'm like, James doesn't like me, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. And you were like my 10th person in line to cast with this event.
You know, that's double digits. Okay, wow. All right.
I'll take it. I'll take whatever we can get.
That's rough. I didn't know I was breaking double digits on that one, but that's something I'll have to live with. Something else, by the way, that we'll see if we end up having to live with is a world where Talon knocked down Bleed 0-1 to start. And the reason I say that is Talon are sure, they're a little untested, right, Dev? At least in terms of the Manchester Major. Topped the South Korea League after bringing in Fabian, their coach, and also really kind of revamping the roster, bringing Soldier back from being on loan to D+ Kia, now actually back on Talon. Sure, they've not been tested to the Major, but Bleed have had a bit of a rough go at it. Sure, they've made it out of Phase 1, but back-to-back 7-0s against SSG. Really close game against Firax, who sure beat G2, but Firax are still not the kind of team that you should be having close games against if you're Bleed, who honestly at this point, being one of the best teams in the Asia region, might have top 8 aspirations in their minds. Right now in Oregon, as we've already talked about, this is the map we're going to. This is a map that Bleed have not played this event so far and have not played in Asia so far this year, whereas Talon love it quite a bit. We'll have to see what happens in the first game of the A stream.
Very much so. I can't believe it. We're getting straight on into the first match of the day here on the A stream. Phase 2 is underway. We're into the Swiss system. It's an awesome part of the tournament because we really get to start sorting these teams into who we reckon are going to be the top teams and who we reckon might be eliminated. And let's be real, neither of these teams have ever made it out to Phase 3 before. Talon have only ever actually gone to one major pass. Bleed, of course, made quite a name for themselves in Atlanta. They continued that form into 6 Invitational, and everyone is really looking at them to be the favorites in this matchup. Despite Pengu and Fabian joining Talon and bringing these guys up to the top of Korea, it's going to be a huge ask for them to challenge against Bleed.
That's how I'm viewing this matchup especially, is that at least on, you know, without considering the previous results, without considering the forms of either of these teams going into the event, Bleed are the favorites. Bleed are the team that they were one game away from making top 8 in Atlanta. We're up 2-0 at one point alongside GK, the 2 big underdog runs from that event. GK obviously making the main stage, Bleed not being so lucky. And as you said, they go into SI and bringing in Julio, they had that great gun skill in Atlanta. They brought a new level of coordination and good theoretical understanding of Rainbow Six at SI. But here at this event, inside of Phase 1, Bleed have shown a bit of a reduction on those. Reeves is showing up. That much we can all agree on. But everyone else has been a little lacking this event. Turnsta especially. Talon going into this, sure, they're going to be a bit more cold. Bleed might have the edge on them when it comes to warming up, but if Bleed are showing that same performance and Talon start out hot, especially on the attacking side of Oregon, it could be a little bit closer than I think a lot of us anticipate.
Absolutely, we're looking at Talon to be the ones to come out of the gate swinging here. They've got that direct Phase 2 slot by winning the South Korea League. But as you said, Dustin, they're a little bit quiet. Last time they played a game, it was against Fearex. Funnily enough, both of these teams, their last opponents were Fearex. But hold that thought for a sec, because it is a rush, and it is seemingly thwarted immediately. Reaps finds a good opening pick, and the blitz goes down. Soldier, a nice attempt, but there is far too much util and far good of a read from Bleed for PSG to get a leg in. However, Reaps was traded back, and that does give Royboy an opportunity to take Pillar.
And that's what I was going to say. I mean, sure, you don't have the initial elbow push work out swimmingly. You don't take full control of elbow, but you take down the smoke, and Royboy's inside a Pillar. He's very low, though, and with that Z-ping is a very easy pre-fire. Oh, that player on Big Tower Stairs in a great spot for a trade, but isn't able to make it happen. And now that early loss of the Blitz is really punishing Talon. Sure, a 3v4, that's disadvantageous enough, but Misa can't really act off this, but the flash go down. He's able to find one. The F-Not might blind, and this should be a good spot for a trade. Aspie knows he's behind that pillar, spots the Amaru. This is the shots. This is a bit of a rough spot, Dev.
Yeah, how's Aspie managed to find himself between a rock and a hard place? Taken down. Big from Misa with the shotgun, 2v2 now. As PSG look to settle in, what a chaotic round this has been so far. Half of the clock has elapsed, and I think Talon should be pretty happy. After the failed rush, they found themselves in a very redeemable position.
I mean, Aspie inside of E-Box, that was one of those positions where I'm like, how is he not dead? How has he killed somebody? There's a guy staring at him from bunker, and he somehow remains alive. But just as I was starting to say earlier, honestly, with how this round has gone, I think Talon are very happy this is ending in a 2v2. They've got control of Pillar. They can start pushing into Gen. The big problem they're going to face is Turdsta with that C4, because they can still rotate through Laundry and toss it over top. But he's in Freezer right now. A good position, but a bit out of position with that secondary utility. He's able to tag up one. With the Lion down, this round seems done.
But maybe not, as Misa does get a good trade on back. Very low HP. However, Hoven was caught on drone. There is a drone in Laundry. We saw it earlier. And Hoven now has pushed up aggressively. Two players he must find, both very low HP. Two flashes as well to play with on Ryder. Hoven's worried about his position being revealed on a drone. He is spotted. Ran in the corner. He needs to find both these players. Misa goes down, all up to Ryder now. Hoven rotates back over again. He finds the player. And that closes the round for Bleed.
Extremely chaotic round one. I mean, we find ourselves in an interesting strategic position to start, right? Because the Blitz dies, but they have control of Pillar. But once Royboy goes down, it's like, okay, all right, 3v4, what are they going to be able to accomplish? And I really got to give credit to Misa push. It's good to see Bleed in high spirits after that first round win.
Aspie loves the smack talk. He loves...
They all... Okay, we can't say Aspie loves the smack talk. They all... I mean, Mentalist is the only guy not doing the smack talk, because everyone else is talking... I mean, you know, Ashen talks enough smack for one player on SSG, but Bleed talk enough smack for a whole team with just 4 players. But this is what I was going to say. We see that push down from Misa to make it a 3v3, but then this retake from Aspie. There were so many good individual plays that round to retake control, whether they were the attack or the defense. But overall, it was extremely chaotic, and I just think Bleed had the better positioning and the better micro decisions at the end, though it did come down to a Hoven 1v2.
10 seconds remaining.
A good start for Bleed, but as we'd said, PSG Talon are the underdogs in this matchup. Once more, they're starting an attack on Oregon, and the basement is probably the most defender-sided bomb site in this game at the moment.
100%.
Oregon basement. You don't expect it to get that close. If this is going to be a lopsided game in favor of Bleed's favor, we certainly haven't seen that as of yet, because Talon have really impressed us in that first round.
And I also think Talon's big strength right now that we saw in Korea is, you know, bringing in Fabian, getting a better understanding of the fundamentals, both in terms of theory and practice of Siege, but their strong point is those set plays. Whether they're rushes or overall clears, they could be fast or slow. Their big strength is now knowing how those set strategies work and then executing them. But when they encounter obstacles, that is where this team, which is still very much developing, that's where they struggle, and that's where Bleed can really throw them off guard. A play like this, for example. Aspie starts out early, gets a bit of intel, maybe he stays and gets a kill. That could have really stumped Talon, but instead, he reinforces it off, fall back, and there's Turdsta down below inside a basement. That could be another individual position that if Talon aren't ready for it and don't have it accounted for in the strat, that could really trip them up.
I'm trying to figure out what the play is for Talon at the moment. It looks like JLT is soloing this big tower position. With the tin can openers, he's going to be able to open up Attic. Ying's also the perfect operator to try and push down this position as well. The Candelas are going to make taking Attic solo very achievable. It does seem to be a pretty staple master and tower push. And with this wall already open, that does make it a bit easier. However, Soldier goes down very early. Hoven finds himself in a good position here, loses his shield, but he does escape with his life. And Turdstar,
here we go.
He does have an opportunity here.
He does. He doesn't need a flank right now. You can see there's a player on drone outside of the main entrance, but if they get overconfident, if Talon don't think it's clear, or sorry, if they do think it's clear and they don't drone it, they don't re-clear it, they could find a problem. But he's just thrown a Kiba, so I believe they're aware that somebody could be down below. Whether they know it's one or two, that much we're not sure about. But Hoven's been a big player inside of Manchester so far for Bleed. Not the highest rated, but definitely behind Reaps, the second highest performing. Turdstar will find one, though. And with the site structure still very much intact, and Talon without a clear way in, they're going to have to rely on this Ying, the EE1D, and the flashes to open something up. And even in a 3v5, that may very well not be enough.
Desperate now from Royboy. Hoven's got it on lock. As everyone seems to fall one by one, very desperate now from Misa, who will prevent it from being a flawless round, but much potential in this position is next to zero, and he does go down. A very convincing second round from Bleed.
Very convincing indeed. Like I said,
he chucks the easy in the chat, by the way. You guys can't see that, but he just Turdstar just chucked easy in the chat after that.
By the way, we're 2 rounds into Oregon defense, and he's dropping the easy. You've won okay, I gotta say this. You've won basement and dorms. Like,
let's not get ahead of ourselves.
We're not winning attacks on Skyscraper right now. Like, let's bring it back into the realm of reality. You go up 3-0. I'll entertain an easy. Either way, Reap's obviously the highest rated player of the event so far for Bleed, but Hoven, I've been really impressed, despite typically on attack especially, being on a bit more supportive of a role. On defense, as you can see, he's able to get very aggressive, get that opening pick, get another one as well later in the round. Really nice play to hold down that trophy position, and again, throw problems in front of Talon. They know the strategies they like to play. They're good at those pre-made stuff, but when it's encountering obstacles, especially good fraggers that can get a kill and then fall back without giving them an easy opening, that's where Talon have struggled a bit. That's where developing teams can really have a bit of a problem. So I like this game plan from Bleed to start. I think it's great not only to counter one of Talon's biggest weaknesses, but also to have, just to get Bleed back more to the Bleed that we know, the team that's confident in taking gunfights, that plays together while still finding that way to showcase great individual skill. That's the Bleed we know and the Bleed that we've been missing throughout Phase 1.
Very true. That's the problem with Bleed. They have such high potential, but sometimes they really struggle to capitalize on it. It becomes a bit of a mental game. And I thought that that was the only thing that was standing between them and becoming the best team in Asia, or potentially even APAC. And we saw them take down Fury in the Asia League, the team that always was their bogeyman, the ones that always knocked them out. I thought that was a marker for, Bleed have finally figured out their mentality problems and their mental fortitude in these tough games, but of course they've been tested this major, and going 0-14 to Space Station was certainly a big red flag for that.
Big red flag indeed. Another red flag for this round, just as the previous one, might be Hoven in this position, sitting on the back tower side. A player holding both of these entrances with a shotgun can really stump teams, especially if you got a great player in that position. So Hoven, well, he's fell pretty quickly. Ryder just hops into the top floor, and credit to Talon. If our biggest concern is how they can deal with these problems, deal with them on the fly, just shooting Hoven in the face and now setting up for this meeting play they're inevitably going to go for. When you see the OSA, and especially the hard breaching, whether it's the Thermite or the Ace, they want to go for a stage plant. They're telegraphing it to us heavily, but I imagine Bleed, hearing that Talon shield just now placed, will know it as well. So Reaps holding down Attic will be a key player to watch, especially any C4s, which the one we had is now gone.
It does also burn the Vulcan canister as well for Bleed. That does make things a little bit more difficult in the late round for the defense, locking that on down. Still some solid positions here for defense. That we've got Mentalist here playing the sandbags. He's got the ability. Also Turdstar.
That's a nice angle.
Very naughty angle here. But the Talon shit on the other side, not just picked for the namesake of the team, but also very powerful on this bomb side.
You can see there's been a swap in positioning, by the way. Reaps has fallen down from Attic, and Asphy's retaken the spot. That's because, one, Reaps is a nasty player and can land shots like that, but also, he's got to use the impacts to destroy those Talon shields. That's a really nice rotation to get the right utility in position to stop Talon's execute. Now that we're in a 4v4 as well, and Ryder's got to push forth to get this diffuser down, this could trip them up with the low time remaining.
You said it, Reaps is the perfect operator for this position, and he finds another kill as well. Ryder now taking a huge chunk of damage. He needs to leverage himself with those Kiba barriers, with those Talon shields rather. Meanwhile, the Azami is feeling a lot of pressure, forced on back as Turtsa. No keeper barriers remain, but Reaps, he is the playmaker in this position, worried about this drone hold, dancing with death as the execute must come on through from Talon. They look pretty solid.
Nice.
They've taken down the Danger Man, and now this plant must go down. Ryder forces himself into position. Asfi cannot deny the plant. All up to Turnster and him to pick up the pieces and redeem this round to go 3-0 on their defense, but Talon has sprung to life. Looking phenomenal. They have this round on lockdown. Turster has just about no chance of making this one work. Look at the way he's so timid on for this peak. It's just not going to happen, I can tell you right now. That's a nice first kill. 25 seconds to get the next two, though. Bit of information. He's going to have to hit some gnarly shots, but I tell you what, Talon, yeah, they're very, very much in a strong position. They are so cool, calm, and collected, and that is an easy way to lock out the round. And the first one of this match for the Koreans.
MVP's got to be Ryder that round. Not only dealing with Hovens so early on by rappelling into T3, but also taking down Reaps behind the bomb chassis. He was walking in with the Talon shields. I do like that instead of trying to plant behind the shield, he went up behind the default spot behind the table, much less exposed. Somebody's actually got to try and retake him. Because Mentalist burned his C4 so early, the impacts can't really get into that position. You're going to need to try to C4 from the hatch maybe, but again, that option was gone because Mentalist used it early. But then he's able to push up and get the kill behind the bomb chassis, and his initiative that round in taking gunfights was really what made that attack work well for Talon. We have a bit of a tech pause right now, as you can see. I think that's good for us, because we have a game on our hands. It's not a dominant bleed stomp like the first couple rounds where, sure, Basement was close, but they stopped the rush pretty easily. They held on to dorms with basically no problems. But now that Talon have fought back on the tertiary bomb site, we might have a somewhat competitive half on our hands, as competitive as Oregon can allow.
Yeah. Well, you could definitely see a 2-4 split coming out here in favor of bleed, and that would be pretty salvageable for Talon. 3-3 would be fantastic. Like if
100%.
Talon, even if Talon lose this next bomb site, laundry supply, basement, and then go and win dorms, and then I guess dorms again. Yeah, that'd be very solid. But if anything, I'd actually have a little bit more faith in Talon winning this basement bomb site rather than dorms, because they got almost flawless on that dorms bomb site, whereas laundry obviously came down to a 1v2 clutch from Hoven. So real shot here for Talon. They've redeemed themselves a little bit, and they are looking very solid to their credit.
Yeah, the fact that they're able to get a win on that third bomb site and have it be pretty consistently good throughout the entirety of the round. You know, they're forcing Bleed to use utility, forcing rotations out of them, and to actually adapt to what Talon are doing instead of vice versa. Really nice stuff on the third bomb site. But of course, going back to basement, we'll have a tactical timeout from Talon.
Okay.
You know what? Sure, it might seem weird because they just won a round, but think about it this way. We know the game is likely going to be one on the attacking side. Who's going to win more? They tried to do a blitz rush on basement. It didn't really work out, but odds are Bleed are going to be ready for that again. So you're going to have to attack basement a bit more traditionally, which is a very hard bomb site to deal with. And they also want to talk about the dorms attack, which just did not really even start in round 2. I think this is a good timeout from Fabian. They're going to game plan how to deal with either basement or dorms to try and get that third round, as you mentioned, to get that 3-3 half if they can reliably win that third site.
I think that PSG Talon are the only team in the world that have a coach who doesn't speak the same language as the players.
That's true.
Most of these players don't have great English. I was talking to Pengu this morning, like before this game, before the roster change, bringing Fabian as coach, these guys didn't really speak any English. I think it's Dong-Uk, who's the manager, is the only one that really has solid English. 2 of these players have like 0. Like you can say something and they might understand, like you might get a laugh out of them. But we don't have a translator here in that tactical timeout. It's literally just Fabian in English trying to communicate to these people in Korean. Yeah, I do wonder how much value you can get out of a tactical timeout like that. Really, it's just a huge ask for these players, right? Really challenging for them.
And I mean, even for a team like BDS, I mean, one of the best teams in the world, but we can still see that communication is still a bit of an issue. You have Shaiko, Leaky Fact, Bride, who calmed in French for a long time, now switching to English. It's causing some bumps. Still, not enough bumps to make them not win EUL, but still, in terms of the eye test, in terms of their play, it can cause a bit of issues. Going back down to basement, I will say I'm actually surprised. We have the Blitz back into play. I want to see how Talon do this. It's a showers clear this time, instead of a quick push into Alpha.
Asfi's gone down very early. Good pre-placed drones, completely bypassing these mute jammers. Asfi is caught out of position, rotating through green into kitchen. A second round in a row where PSG Talon have found the opening pick. Bleed have a lot of questions now, and you can see these players changing up their setup on the site. They need to get a little bit more aggressive now. They need to adapt. I'm not sure they're aware of the blitz as of yet, but playing with a player down so early in the round, Bleed are feeling the need to put some aggression back onto Talon to even up the numbers.
And again, I think this is a really good decision. I'm not surprised either that it's Hoven who decides to take this burden and place it on his own shoulders to push up Freezer stairs with Reaps behind him. Good trading structure as well. But even if they go 1-for-1, that's still man advantage for Talon. It's still them with a better position to convert onto the bomb site. Soldier now moving down the stairs, but nobody's bit this Freezer pressure yet. We see the drone, and we do see them spot the player's top Freezer. They don't need to act on this intel. They don't need to go for this kill. They still have the 5v4, but more importantly, it means that attempt by Bleed to take the man advantage back hasn't worked out. See Soldier slowly forcing them back. They've still got half the round to go, but Talon need to start asserting themselves into this position, especially on back tower stairs, Freezer, and main stairs. You can't give Bleed the opportunity to flank up and go back down. Basement's already hard enough, even with a 5v4. You don't want to especially lose your blitz to a play you'll regret.
Yeah, the jig is up as well on this blitz. Bleed are now fully aware, and they can change their strategy as a result. Where is the blitz intended to drop in the end of the round? PSG Talon have actually made pretty good time. All of the hatches are open. They've got over a minute to play with as they can start droning out this site, identifying the weaknesses and figuring out how they're going to split up their players on for this push. For now, a lot of attention onto Freezer and the front of Laundry. Nothing really on blue or on the rear stairs.
But the big concern is, one, this mirror window into the smoke canisters. With all that time and the advantage Talon had, they can use this utility, and as the blitz goes in, those are going to be the two biggest issues they have. Look, it stops the blitz in his tracks.
The gas, very good from Reaps. And Turnster finds JLT. Turnster has this mirror window. He should be good for another one. What are PSG doing? Straight into the meat grinder. They fall one by one. Reaps has a very solid position, and Freezer all up to Royboy. And just about nothing that he can achieve here in a 1 versus 3. He's going to walk straight into the mirror window as well. What are they doing? Talon obliterated at the end of the round. They found the opening pick, but they were kept at bay. No worries from Turnster.
In isolation, Basement's, you know, a perfectly fine site to go 0-2 on your attacking side, but given how close that previous round came, I mean, a 1v2 in the end that Hoven had to win to bring that round back and Bleed to get there first. With the tactical timeout that Talon took, we're hoping to see a little bit more, and I think the overall strategy was fine. I like the blitz push down Freezer, the front side take, but not bringing the right utility to deal with it. Sure, the Twitch can deal with those mirror windows, but with how many players were actually anchored on the site, getting a Twitch drone in there is going to be very hard, and no Ash to try to compensate for that. You just have the mirror able to play behind there the whole time. You've also got the player playing close up on the Freezer wall who can swing in and take down anybody pushing in behind the blitz. And that doesn't even begin to talk about the C4s and the smoke canisters that the defense still had going into those final 30 seconds. Bleed just had a better utility game and better positioning right there, and not enough counter utilities brought by Talon to either clear some of it or to deal with some of those positions. But it's still Basement. We'll go back up to Dorms, which was definitely the most dominant loss Talon suffered on this attacking side so far. And bringing the Ying and the Grim, something we only saw one of those on the previous Dorms attack. That's certainly a good way to get you an advantage over the defense by the time you get to that execute.
You have a lot of good operators on the board here, and I like how much that Talon use these zoning operators, like the Grim, the Ying, and the Capitao. Capitao not here, but just last round, I believe the Capitao was used to try and clear that mirror position. While we were at face camps at the end of the round, I saw that Turdster in the chat actually said, "Nice Capitao arrow," and I'm pretty confident that he was being sarcastic. He was allowed to find 2 kills from that mirror window position thanks to those missed Capitao bolts. And it does go to show Talon have so many great ideas, but execution can be very challenging in the heat of the moment, especially playing against a team as mechanically talented and aggressive as Bleed.
And a team that mechanically is really all showing up this game. I mentioned Hoven. He's only got 3 kills since that. He got 1 extra kill in the Dorms round, and since then, not much else. But Reaps is showing up, and most importantly, Turdster, the lowest rated player, or one of the players I think we expected to show up more than he has been this tournament, putting in a good performance so far on this defensive half. On this roam, we saw him downstairs in Basement, now creeping up Freezer to support that player inside of security, while there's 3 anchors actually on the site. A very common setup, especially good at repelling a big window take. If anybody hops in that window, Reaps down below can shoot him with a shotgun, and if anybody tries to clear Reaps, Tursta can support him from the freezer stairs. So a very normal, but also a very good setup from Bleed. And half the round in, Talon haven't actually broken through anything just yet, but the Nomad might have something to say about that.
Located by attackers.
These Mew Jammers are making it very difficult for this push to come in through. Oh, look at this sneak up the white stairs here.
Mentalist around the corner.
Yeah. Ryder attempting something here. He gets caught out by the FNAT, the Dread Mine from the Fenrir, and he falls on back again. Tursta still in a very solid position here, but Mentalist has gone down. Another opening pick for PSG Talon. But are they going to be able to convert it? They failed to do so last round. Ryder in a solid position as PSG rotate. A player now on the kids' windows.
Oh, my big concern here, I see they're trying to commit to the big window take, but Reaps down below with this shotgun. They need a solution for this. Tursta supporting him, Ryder holding passively. If they don't deal with Reaps...
There's no way they can do this. Jumping straight on inside, JLT falls, and Reaps does find the kill that he was looking for and attempted to repel inside. Ryder completely lost, completely caught. He knows the player down behind him. Looking to retake up the white stairs, but he is caught in such an awkward position in the middle of sight. Asfi misses a few bullets and looks to run away, looks to try and support his teammates. Ryder does eventually go down as the retake has come into full effect for Bleed. All up to Roy Boy now in a 1 versus 4. And Bleed are looking to dominate. 2 rounds in a row of utter competition thwarted. Talon desperate now. Roy Boy coming up the stairs. Not a lot he can do here. So many ideas, but so little time and so few abilities to actually execute them. Tursta locks in the final kill. The shit talker continues to fire up here after a very quiet start to the tournament. And you can, he's typing in chat right now. You literally see he's typing in chat right now on the face cam.
He's a warrior.
Oh, this guy, he's a keyboard warrior. It's
funny, he's very stoic too. He's never the one yelling, but...
No, he's a keyboard warrior.
It's like the GIF where it's like writing the pen and it's like fire all around him or something like that. But unfortunately for Talon there, you know, big window takes are fine, and Bleed was certainly not making it easy with how much presence they had down below. But the only even awareness of that position we saw that round, or at least awareness that it could be a problem, was Ryder. Just sneaking up and down white stairs a couple times, and I think that lurk was good, pushing up the stairs to catch Mentalist off guard. He doesn't get the kill. There was an F-Not there. So there were some alright ideas, but never dealing with the security player, not dedicating maybe a couple Candelas to try to clear it out or anything really. It was just, unfortunately, an alright game plan at the start, but poor reaction in the face of what Bleed were throwing at them. So 4-2 half, the absolute maximum PSG Talon to be able to get away with, bringing the Osa back. I think pretty much overall the exact same lineup we saw previously. I think there was an IQ before. Now instead there is a Brava for this meeting take, but I imagine probably going to be the same thing.
I actually really like this Brava pick. We've got Maestro brought out, and we've got Valkyrie from the defense. 2 operators that are really solid for that late round denial and information gathering. Bleed love playmaking. If you've got the info, you can enable that. But Brava is the best counter to that Maestro. You have to be so diligent protecting the Evil Eyes, otherwise the Brava will end up taking them, and then the defense is harassed by those Evil Eyes on the site. It's just about one of the worst things that can happen to a defensive team, is to have these bulletproof cameras in the site that are now controlled by the attack.
And also, specifically one Evil Eye placement. Remember, I mentioned that the Osa went behind the table to get the safe plant spot. Now you have the Evil Eye right there. If it doesn't get hacked, it can cover that position, as you can see. So good adaptation by Bleed as well to deal with the very plant spot Talon went for before. But as you can see, we actually see the split wall opened up, and I didn't mention this, but that is theoretically an option they could go for. Open up that wall, hop in, maybe use the Talon shield again to try to find a way in, especially if they're not able to deal with the player on that split doorway. We'll have to see what Talon commit to. I mean, still got a minute 50 to go.
I've already seen an adaptation from Talon, which I really like, in that they've opened the meeting walls from lobby. Previously, that was much more difficult because there was a mute on the board, but now Bleed have forsaken the mute in favor of the Maestro. It does also make this breach here on the stage wall much easier as well. PSG are looking very solid now. A minute and a half left to go. The one thing they don't have is the opening pick that they found last time onto this position. Reaps is really caught in an awkward spot. He needs to stay alive into the late round. We saw the damage he was able to do on this bomb site previously. But this is the last chance for Talon to cop an attack before we switch sides, and they need this. They go down 5-1, and this game is over.
It very well might be, and we've been talking about, you know, adaptations and adaptations that both these teams are making, and one final one that I think is the big problem. Nobody's getting in the face of Talon. Before, Ryder was able to hop in and kill Hoven on the back stairs. Now he's tucked inside of the site, playing that Maestro. Reaps was pushed up in attic, but he's very quickly fallen back because he knows just the very idea of his presence is going to cause more problems than actually attacking anybody. There's not even anybody down below to go for a C4. Now these Vulcan packs are detonating. Talon are completely stalled out outside of the breach. No opening pick. Utility in their face. So much good positioning for Bleed. Talon might have a way out of this, but now that Hoven's got him.
Oh, they had such a good position. They had so did Talon, but it has fallen. One Ryder and Misa have gone down. The Evil Eyes. One has been hacked, but it is a far cry. Unchecked, unaddressed, finds another kill. Flawless round to close the half as they are up 5-1 on their defense.
And unfortunately, that proactivity we saw in the first 3 rounds, specifically that first basement attack, and it did not translate. Even shockingly, after, I mean, the last 2 attacks we saw, incredibly slow in front of them, not trying to solve them in either consistent, especially that final meeting round. But to be fair, that strategic depth, I think in dorms, Talon, come on, try to clear the security guy, try to go for it, do something. Bleed just played that defense really well. They weren't getting on, were relying on their own mistakes or their own 1v1. So they pulled back, put up utility to deny the play fights early on, and it completely stumped them to give Bleed.
Carter, I wanna put a little bit of a spin. Haven't historically had the best results on Fearex on the other day. They lost 8-7. Funnily enough, exact same that from Bleed the other day. But if you take the holistic results of the last couple of months for Bleed, right? This was one of their best maps at the Six Invitational. They played it 3 times. They won it every single time. You don't know the teams that they beat?
Was one of them the future world champions?
Okay, so one of them was M80, right? Big
future world
American
champions.
Team. No. Big North American team, you know, a bit mid back at SI. Another team, Team Liquid, also a pretty damn good team, right?
Yeah.
And how about W7M freaking Esports, the world champions, right now, Furia? These guys beat the world champions on Oregon, and PSG are picking this map, or letting it through the veto in this BO1 just 2 months later. I do think that it was a huge risk to let Oregon through, and we've already seen that starting on attack. It's not been pretty for PSG Talon.
No, it's not. Fortunately right here. Okay, Soldier. Able to take the 1v1 with Asfi, win it, and there's no way Bleed are getting this trade. I mean, maybe they could cut him off from the window, and Reaps clearly knows. Soldier might be aware of it now. They've got JLT to support, but the Frost is in a bit of a difficult position. JLT can't really get aggressive and take the fight with Reaps. It's really only on the Soldier to try to rotate back. This is at least a good way, I suppose, to waste time one way or the other. They got the Deimos on it.
Nice.
Good Kiba to get him across. Really nice from Talon right there to get their player back into the site and fully solidify that 5v4. As, by the way, as I don't think we've mentioned so far, it's actually dorms, the first bomb site, instead of basement. You couldn't tell by the very strong top floor hold. Don't know what else could have indicated that to you.
Yeah, it is an interesting point, though. Not many teams will go dorms first. Obviously, PSG are seemingly better at attacking the basement than attacking dorms, and perhaps that has led them to bias this bomb site a little bit. But Bleed will definitely be more familiar with attacking that basement bomb site as the first choice from the defense. And they have stalled out a little bit. They need to find a refrag here. They need to push for a little bit more. There's still quite an aggressive hold from PSG. Misa being the man of the hour here. The Grim Bees do lock him in a bit of an awkward position. Royboy is also caught deep inside of Closet. I don't think he has a retreat opportunity as well, but Reaps could deal some serious damage if he's allowed to move up towards Trophy.
That's the one thing I think Bleed have right now, is if Reaps can get a couple kills on this push into site, it's a 4v5. You've got so little control, so little progress, but he's already cut down JLT. If they can get one more, if they can find this zombie inside a bedroom, we've got a ball game on our hands.
It does find Reaps though, and a good crossfire. Misa all up to Turd now from down below. The nade. A lot. They do find a bunch of damage. Awkward position for him. 1v4. Perhaps this is 5-1 on the defense for Blue. For Talon, they can find a little bit of confidence back. Shot absolutely disgusting. 1v3. This ain't happening. Talon can just sit pretty, hold and fire up a little bit. Get a little bit of confidence. Fabian trying to get the guys to fire up. They finally...
And also, Bleed attack out the gate.
Yeah.
I mean, Talon, it was by the... I see the major cracks in their strategy, but they started out with, you know, some good ideas in that basement attack and obviously a victory round meeting in round 3, but there... Bleed drop a player early on, Aspie getting taken down over by Big Tower, and then what was the game plan after that? I'm not entirely sure. I mean, maybe they wanted to go for an attic take. It seemed that way with the presence there early on, and they still had the ace. They still had some semblance of hard breaching they could use, but they see the Kibas in bedroom. They see the Mute playing aggressive. Sure, you're in a 4v5, but there was really not a lot of progress made to clear out any of these positions, deal with the Azami, deal with the Mute. I mean, how late in the round were we still talking about Roy Boyer in Closet and the Azami in Bedroom as a problem they had to face? All that utility was really not put to good use.
And I'll say it is very difficult to clear that.
It is,
was a
of course.
call, but I think that there are a lot of options that Bleed could have gone for. For one, use your hard breach that you're not going to need on the closet wall, on the wall from Master into top armory stairs, right? We saw that fortified. If that had been opened, there is no way that Misa gets out of there alive. A lot of opportunities for Bleed to look for, I guess, simpler and more effective ways of clearing that, and unfortunately they didn't come up with them and implement them during the round. But of course, it's just one round, still a 3-round lead for Bleed. We go down to the basement for PSG.
And go downstairs, and talking about that Azami again, an operator that can be really difficult to deal with on this basement site, makes an E-box push almost untenable. You throw that Kiba on the doorway right as they drop, they can't really get an angle on you to take that gunfight as they fall. It can be very difficult to deal with, and with no Ying on the board either for Bleed, you don't have the Candelas to toss down either. They've got the Blitz as the main operator to try to base this push around, supported by some intel from the Grim, of course, but also there's Deathmark trackers from Turtsta that we saw in the previous round, not put to a whole lot of effective use, but here, if Turtz is maybe able to use one, push down Freezer, get intel on a player holding Laundry Machine, it can make taking a 1v1, that often Basement could just come down to taking a 1v1 and winning it on the attack because of how little options you have to clear positions. If he's got enough intel with that tracker to take a fight with somebody in a very key position, that's something Bleed will be very, very thankful for, especially if it's paired well with Mentalist on that Blitz pushing into sight.
Well, I think Bleed have made very good progress so far, Carter. Despite not immediately going for a roam clear, half the round done, they have solidified entire map control. They've started opening up some of these hatches as well. And as it looks like there's going to be a bit of a contest on the freezer stairs here from Soldier on the smoke. I really like this. The first time I ever saw this was back in the old Elevate. Sapper, he used to run this strat a lot, and he had so much success. Soldier's actually going to fall on back with 2 gas babes in pocket, so he doesn't want to overcommit once the hatch is open. I think that's a pretty good decision. But just have a look at this. Like, Bleed have opened up every avenue into sight. Now it's just about identifying the way that they actually are going to execute.
Which, unfortunately, is the perennial issue on Basement is, okay, in the face of toxic canisters, F-Not mines, Kiba barricades, C4s, how are we actually going to tackle this? And you got some good control halfway into the round, but this is where the clock really starts hurting you. The Bees seem to be going into E-Box, and I imagine the push will come from this position as well. And yeah, we've got the Blitz outside a bunker. They're going to use these Bees. They're going to jump in, but there's that utility just bleeding a little more time out of the attacking side.
Oh, good smoke, though. That does cut off this line of sight here. Mentalist starts to go deep. Oh, the gas, the crossfire, perfect from Soldier, who does start to make the attack bleed indeed. Turtsta does find his kill, his 10th of this game so far, but not nearly enough. 2 players in advantage for PSG. Turtsta has to desperately find this pick. If he gets it, no, he's not gonna. And it doesn't matter. The ifs and the buts, Reaps and 1 against 4. It's very grim for him now. PSG looking to lock out their second defense in a row. They're starting to build this momentum, looking very solid after a very grim first half. Things are looking up for the Koreans.
Things are looking very, very good. These have been some nice defenses, very proactive as well, just like we saw from Bleed.
Oh, it's attack timeout.
I mean, honestly, I think that's perfectly understandable. Bleed taking their tactical timeout, as we can see. I think it's perfectly understandable. Think about when Fabian took his. He said, okay, we're going to attack basement. We're going to attack dorms. If we get these, we get a 3-3 half, and we have strong defenses. That could be a regulation victory for us. That was Fabian's logic on the attacking side, I would assume. And here, these attacks have not looked particularly close. Talon's defenses have been quite good, and as I was talking about, they're contesting positions early on. The shotgun up freezer, sure, it's not unique. We saw Bleed do the same thing, but for a team that is still trying to get their feet on the international stage, their defensive game plan, Talon's, is looking very good. So winning this tertiary site, just as it was key for Talon to get literally one attacking round, it's going to be just as important for Bleed to, I'm going to say it, stop the bleeding. Yeah. But seriously, to regain that momentum and stop Talon, because if Talon get a flawless rotation, 7-5 comeback to win 6 rounds in a row, it could happen.
I want to take a moment to talk about Fabian and Julio, the coaches of these respective teams, both world champions.
Actually, talk about a goated coach lineup in this matchup, actually.
And particularly Fabian for a moment. Like, have a look at that. Have a look at the way he's communicating with his players, who, by the way, like, they don't speak the same language, at least certainly not fluently. This guy has quite a reputation, Fabian does. Obviously, not just because of his accomplishments, but also because of his demeanor. He is a no bullshit kind of guy. Like, he does not care about people's feelings. He cares about winning, and he will say whatever he thinks that will make that happen. Like, very famously, before the comeback when he was on Penta back in 2018 against EG, he said, he took the team aside when they were 0-2 down in the grand final. He said, do you guys like losing? Because I effing hate losing. So let's just go and win. And they made a 3-game comeback, one of the most historic comebacks in the history of Rainbow Six. We saw it at the Six Invitational in Montreal over a year ago when he was coaching G2, and he absolutely rinsed them. I have never seen a coach rinse players that hard in a tactical timeout, and they came back and won the entire event as a result of that. This guy has a reputation for being harsh, and that is not at all what we've seen here. He is being nurturing to these Korean players. I mean, yes, Korea is one of the weakest regions in the world. He took a very difficult job in joining them, but he's not applying that like real hard, fast mentality. He's actually identified that trying to support these guys, they need a different kind of softer hand.
Yeah, he's taking a realistic approach as well. You know, he's not coming into a team and coaching Alamau.
He's not expecting these guys to be world champions in 3 months.
He's not coaching Alamau, who's won a major, you know, all the way back in Mexico. He's not coming in with Doki, who's one of the most experienced fraggers in EU. He's coming with people that are still trying to get, like I said, their feet under them on the international stage. He's taking a very good approach, and of course, it also is just great that he has an outstanding theoretical understanding of Rainbow Six.
And what's more, these guys were down 5-1. That should be a death sentence for most teams, right? And yet, he's taking even the small victories. 2 rounds of defense on the 2 main bomb sites of this map. Like, yeah, that's not really enough to win this game, but it's enough for Fabian to start instilling some confidence in his players.
And also, with this tactical timeout, 2 defenses might not be enough, but 3 rounds in a row on this defensive side might be enough to make that 6-round comeback a very real possibility. And this hold from PSG Talon that we're seeing, again, very proactive. Azami upstairs to make acquiring this vertical control very difficult. And if Bleed don't take that control, well, I was going to say they'd be pigeonholed, but Hovens just killed 2, and the round's wide open.
I think the round is closed, in fact, Carter, but closed is the door on Talon's face. Misa in a 1 versus 5, he finds his first. They all look to find him. Eventually he goes down, and that means match point is on the cards for Bleed. These guys have fired up their first attack round, and with it, 1 round away from putting PSG in the dirt.
And it all comes off the back of Hoven finding a gap inside of the long hallway, outside of security, walking in and killing 3 people. Beautiful stuff from Hoven in that round. We don't even really have anything to pontificate on what was the overall. What was the overall push? What was the game plan there? They were still trying to probe out and find information, and Hoven realizes, oh, I might be able to make a play here. Just creeps up, and that's the round open and shut very quickly.
Very much an open and shut case for Hoven that round. But you know something I do want to talk about, Carl? We talked plenty about Fabian and about PSG Talon, and for good reason. They have quite a narrative. But I want to touch on Julio, and I want to talk about Bleed. These guys, this team only formed just over a year ago. Literally full, fresh team. Gaming Gladiators, Dire Wolves, several teams basically just died and merged into this roster. And my God, what a stellar roster it has been.
10 seconds
now,
to go.
What have they been able to achieve since then? Well, they failed to make Copenhagen a year ago. Then they went to Atlanta. They did phenomenally well. They've picked up Julio, World Championship coach. They went to SI and had a phenomenal performance there too. We already know that they have qualified, well, if they make the Montreal major later this year, they will go direct to Phase 2 because they have been the best performing minor region team outside Bliss who got that invite this time around. So what do we expect out of these guys? If they can have a convincing win over Talon here, that's one step, but realistically, not a huge scalp to take. They are going to be gunning for a lot more than that, potentially even a main stage appearance in this tournament.
Yeah, a 7-3, if Bleed able to win this round, it's great. You're going to move up 1-0 in the Swiss stage, but ultimately, you know, Bleed, unfortunately...
They have their sights set high.
Exactly, and they're not... They have the curse of not being the underdogs. Like, we expect Bleed to win here. We expect you to get the dub here. It's going to be that 1-0 and maybe the 2-0 games. But they fight those better teams where Bleed really need to make a name for themselves to come back from that Phase 1 kind of rough performance that we saw. Asfi, able to come back from that initial gunfight. He takes with the player inside bedroom. Misa falling back behind that shield. A minute in, we're running Dorms back, and we're also seeing a different look. Royboy not playing aggressively inside a bedroom. He's instead down below, playing the very position that Reaps played.
Before, yeah.
Exactly, where he shut down that entire big window push when the sides were flipped. We also don't see an aggressive bedroom hold. Instead, it's pulled a little bit further back inside of Trophy. Good new change from PSG Talon, a new defensive strat, keeping Bleed uncomfortable, and once again, forcing a lot of time out of the attack as they try to figure out how they want to deal with this.
It seems like a lot of presence is going to be around big window. That's where Reaps is currently sitting, just waiting for a player to cross his line of sight.
If he doesn't deal with Royboy, we really will have seen this one before.
Yeah, quite ironic because it was Reaps who played that position previously. Who is going to clear that position downstairs? I believe it's going to be Mentalist and Turdster. Now, the Maverick is a really great operator for this position as well. If he's able to get in and start using that torch on the wall into security, I'm not sure it's going to be possible. They've got to worry about the taps. They're trying to engage in a lot of vertical play at the moment, trying to find this player in Kid's dorms, but very difficult to actually land a kill onto this guy.
It is, and also Talon don't really care. They've got they're trying to find JLT, and he can just walk away. Then Royboy's still down below. 2 minutes and 20 seconds in, guys, and we've got no kill, we've got no control. You're gonna hop into big window. You better send somebody up long haul to deal with Royboy, or else this Dorm's defense is going the way of the Dodo.
Activating Glad!
30 seconds to play, JLT. Not going to worry about these flashes. Turdster looks to make his way up the white stairs. JLT's gone down, though. The Mentalist down below. Through the vertical lines of sight, he ends up having success. But Misa elsewhere has seemingly thwarted this push from Bleed.
There we go!
Finds another one. Royboy goes down. Hovens jumped in, but straight back out again. Numbers are even. The PSG might be able to hold fast on the side. It will need to be explosive from Reaps, and he finds his kill. Traded on back. Mentalist cannot get it done. PSG hold off for just a little bit longer.
Able to hold out on that Dorm's defense. Very, very important. Somebody
Who's
might...
playing on the B stream? It's Scars versus CAG, the Japanese derby. It's so loud, man. I can't hear myself think.
I mean,
right
to be fair, if I was CAG and I've not beat Scars in 3 years...
What is the score of that game?
Actually, to be fair, it could be 6-0 Scars, and they're just really happy about a dominant game. I don't think it is, considering how long they've been shouting.
6-4 to Scars, apparently.
6-4 to Scars? Oh, well. Tag could come back. 2 rounds to OT. Break the 3-year losing streak in the first round of the Swiss. We'll have to see, though. But as we were just talking about, very good attack from Talon. I still like that Bleed at least... We're aware that for a big window push, they need to take down the player in security. They need to do that to get their way in. But they're still only pushing from white stairs and big window. There are players...
It's not an unorthodox way of doing it.
It is, yeah, exactly. It was entirely reliant on Mentalist lurking in and getting that kill, and there were still players in dorms that could retake and take down the player hopping into big window. So there were some better attempts at accomplishing that execute than we saw from Talon on their attacking side, but still very incomplete.
5 seconds remaining.
And back to basement.
Back to basement, indeed. The real test will come, even if PSG wins this round. Of course, they will have to go to a tertiary bomb site, and that was quite grim for them. This basement's not perfect for Bleed, but I wouldn't be surprised if they can close it here. Bleed have looked like the better team in this series, but it has not been an open and shut case. This bomb site in particular, the basement, Bleed looked pretty rough on. Only got 1 kill in that round, and they didn't actually execute until 30 seconds from the end, and they lost the opening pick too. So I really expect a lot more out of Bleed this time. They have match point. They don't want to open up the door and give the opportunity of overtime. But it's going to be challenging because there's a Clash on the board.
Clash is one of those operators that, as the meta has shifted over the past 2-3 years or so, operators that are key counters or utility that are key counters to Clash have just kind of fallen out of favor. Zofia being a big example. She's still broad, but she's not a staple in the lineup after the recoil and the armor changes a couple years ago. And even with the nade changes, you can't cook them and instantly throw it at her feet and detonate it before. Sure, you can throw them and knock away the shield, but she's got ample time to fall back. More importantly, you still have, even if Misa wasn't playing Clash, you still got this freezer and security position that Talon are playing aggressively to extract as much time from Bleed as they can. I mean, we still got players on the top floor. Yeah, we still got players going for this roam clear.
It's a very unusual hold from PSG. They're really investing heavy into this security position. And Bleed have to either hard clear it or dismiss it. And I think that the better option this late into the round is...
You got to at this point.
You can't look to clear that. Like, you need hard breach, you need something to clear the mute jammers, and even then you're probably going to lose a player or two. So they're instead going to go for a full back push. They've opened up this electrical hatch. They also do have the opportunity of making something work there on Laundry with opening the Laundry hatch. But have a look at this. Misa's fallen on back. Royboy's fallen on back. So after all that, PSG just give it up for free.
They do, but Bleed have to push now. They've used fire bolts and flashbangs, and Asfi has made his way down, but they need a kill in this position. Reaps can cover, he can get this trade, but the Clash can just rotate over and stall out this push entirely.
RC4 comes over, boom! Reaps is gone, and Misa can look to re-aggress. Asfi finds one. He's not going to be able to actually win this duel in a 1 versus 1 against Asfi. Bleed have redeemed themselves somewhat, 4 versus 4, but Turdstick goes down. Ryder retaking this position in elbow. Likely to find a fight here, but he loses his head. Mentalist stepping up once again for Bleed, the old guard, but Hoven's gone down too. Rough position now for Bleed, 2 versus 3, still that Clash at large. No firebolts to deal with it from Asfi. They have to get creative, they have to go deep, but JLT's gone down to Mentalist as well. Shield on back, gun in hand now for the Clash. This is so winnable for Bleed. Asfi's come around the corner. Oh, Royboy, 1v2 or go bust. This could be it, Bleed. The kills come through.
1 HP.
1 HP on Mentalist. He has to clutch up big. Royboy needs to keep this game alive for Talon, and he does! They will not go down without a fight.
2 1v2s on basement for key rounds. 1 for Bleed, and now 1 for Talon. To keep the game alive and to keep that 6-round comeback real. It won't be regulation like it was earlier. It'll be OT and another chance to take down Bleed. And maybe not a stunning upset, but an upset nonetheless, were it to happen.
I think this would be pretty stunning, especially after a 5-1 first half. Bleed looked like the better team through and through.
I just reserve adjectives for, you know, when the biggest... I only use adjectives when Furia, FaZe, or BDS are...
Okay, man, okay. Well, I care about APAC teams. I don't know about you, mate.
But I'm not the biggest NA fan, so you have a bit more regional pride than I do. But anyway, with that...
Look at this, man.
With that round from Talon, overall... The trading structure, the actual players on the site were what saved that, because Bleed had a really good call. They realized the Clash was rotating off Freezer, nobody was in Pillar, and so you see those firebolts immediately go down to stop anybody retaking Pillar from long haul, and they immediately drop and push down the stairs. Really great call from Bleed to take the initiative, and if Talon's guns aren't hot there, if they aren't able to get that first pick and then keep that advantage consistent throughout the round, basically if Soldier doesn't kill Reaps and Reaps kills Soldier, that round probably goes Bleed's way.
Yeah.
But Talon able to get the 5v4, trade it down, keep the advantage. That's what keeps them alive. And of course that 1v2 as well, but both of those things are why we're still even having a match on our hands.
One of the things that impressed me most about Talon so far today is they never give up. And I know that's like a buzzword in sports and stuff, but seriously, like, this is a Korean team, right? This is a Korean team that has never come first in their region before heading into a major, and now they've, for the first time, done that. It's always been Fear X in its previous iterations, or D+ in its previous iterations to do that. These guys have now established themselves as the best in their region. They were down 5-1, and they didn't care. Like, Fabian was giving them words of encouragement. They just, piece by piece, brought it back, and when it came down to a big clutch moment, they stood up.
I won't make this easy for them.
And we can see that good strategic foundation that Fabian has brought, especially with all the strategies we're seeing, because, I mean, at least in conception, it's nothing that I also wouldn't see in the NA or the EU League or the Brazil League. Sure, maybe how they play the strat might not be the best by the end. Maybe how they react to something might not be the best, as it would be in one of the more primary regions. But all of this that we're seeing from Talon makes sense in conception, and they know how these strats work. They know how they play. But with Reaps creeping up the back stairs, sees somebody getting aggressive on the back side, but not only will he force Royboy back, he'll also reveal his position inside of Attic. So the defense should now be aware that there could be a lurk from Reaps through Attic into dorms. and Soldier will need to be worried about that as he's holding that verticality, the only player on the defense to consistently hold it.
Yeah. No, he is left all alone up here now. It does have a very important role as well. Bleed is so aggressive here. It wouldn't take much for Bleed to corner him and take him on down. So many areas that he has to be worried about, but also a lot of crossfires with his teammates that he can establish. Opening pick would be essential here, and Bleed really need to fight for it. Otherwise, overtime will be looming.
That's what I was going to say. Remember, the one round Bleed had on the attack was Hoven finding a gap and getting that opening pick and getting a huge multi-frag, but we didn't actually see what their clear was. Now that Talon aren't giving them that same opening, Bleed are really struggling. Almost 45 seconds left, and they've made less progress in this attack than Talon did on their attacking side. Royboy's still here, might get a kill if he's lucky. Swings with the shotgun, there's 3 players around him. That's easy for Bleed, but the time is looking low.
Yeah, the opening pick has come through, but as you've said, there's so many more steps to go and 40 seconds to get it done now for this Asian team. Time to step up, time to spring into action. Because if not, overtime will be on the cards for Talon. Soldier looking to duel this position at Attic, but he is locked on down. Hoven goes down. But Ryder also traded on back. Reaps has sprung into action. Turster inches away from executing into Kitchen. Just 2 bodies to find. Misa down on the floor. All up to JLT now. We've seen a big clutch from PSG already, but it will have to be back-to-back to keep them alive, keep them in this game. The plant going down, no possibility of a plant denial from JLT.
5 seconds to go.
3 players to find. His teammate waiting on the floor for him to come and assist, but it doesn't look like it's going to be possible. In fact, it looks like this game is done. Hoven seems to think so. The early GG called out in the chat. An attempted revive. Misa will get picked up, and there's Reaps to lock it in. Bleed. It took them a little bit longer than they expected, but they put away PSG Talon, and it's solid 7-5.
And ultimately that 5-1 half making the big difference. Hoven especially with that huge play on the previous meeting round making a big difference in the long run. A very close game and one where both teams really struggling on the attacking side, but with that huge play from Hoven and ultimately a good clear on that second attempt at meeting that we just saw in round 12 is enough to make the difference. To put Bleed just a little bit above Talon, but now put them very firmly above them in the standings. 1-0 into the Swiss stage for Talon starting out their phase 2 with a loss.
Very solid from Reaps, Julio, and the boys to bring that one back. Yeah, of course, they had such a solid lead, but Talon really pushed them hard for it. You could see the and there's nobody that's really more evident than that. Him during the Asia League this season, he has and some pretty poor ones, and incredibly affected by that. To strip away, when they start to really feel that pressure, it does sometimes crumble, and that is the real demon that they... PSG, of course, a disappointing loss for them. 7-5 against Bleed, this team that has gone events and performed incredibly well. I think...
Yeah, I think what it indicated from PSG Talon is that in the Korea League, we're still very much the strengths they... international stage. The defenses were good, but it was reacting to things difficult. So Bleed, maybe a little asterisk there. Now, good overall for both teams.
Well, we do have an interview. Bleed, as Milos is ready to go.
I'm not really sure.
Talk about this, Turt. Congratulations on the win. How you feeling now?
Bored, man. That was easy.
Was it closer than what we imagined?
No. Man. They don't want to let them come to their first match, you know? Charity work.
Charity work, I mean, the other side, of course, with Fabian, you have your own dinosaur in Julio, so that's something that both teams have to worry about in their own right. But now that you've won today, you're setting yourself for the rest. Are you going to get some rest? How does the system work for preparation when you have 2 games in the day?
It's pretty hard to prep, so we're probably just going to eat, chill out. Our next game's going to be hard, you know? Like, it's going to be a 1-0 game, so it's going to be another good team. So, yeah, we'll just eat, like, make sure our bodies are refreshed and just play our game, I guess. It's pretty hard to prep.
Thank you very much for joining us. I know it's not always easy to kind of do more and more interviews with Turt. Very proud of you for it. Everybody out there, thank you so much for joining us. We will take a super short break, 3 minutes, and then we'll be back with Mentalist for a full-on interview on the desk. See you in a moment.